Welcome back to the bus build. I'm so excited for this video because so much has happened since my last video and the bus build is progressing slowly but really well. I feel like I'm finally in a spot where I'm in the bus every second or third day, whereas this year, like, there's been some weeks where I've just haven't been in the bus at all and have been really frustrated, but yeah, things are looking really good. So first things first, I finally got my gas and hot water system installed. So as you would have seen in my last video, I really struggled to find a company, even though I'm in Melbourne, to do my hot water and gas installation because companies just were so understaffed and just like didn't reply to emails. And one quote I got was like $6,000, which is way out of my budget and way overpriced for what a gas installation is. But I finally found a Ward RV Superstore in Ferntree Gully and I ended up going with them. They were amazing. I paid $2,500 for for a gas box with 2 gas bottles and my hot water system, and to have that all installed. So I'm going to go back to them later on and they'll connect my oven and my stove and certify everything. But I'm so happy with them and definitely recommend if you are in Victoria. In total it took like a week. They had my bus for a week and the wait list was only 4 weeks to get booked in. So yeah, I'm really happy with them. And the customer service was great, so definitely recommend. And that's finally done, and yeah, I guess the rest of the exciting things we've been up to you'll see in this video. But as always, if you have any questions or recommendations, comment them below, and I hope you enjoy this video. I'll just quickly give you a tour of the gas. Just ignore the mess. So this is the hot water system on the inside. So that will need to be, like, when I get my solar done, the electrician will wire that up to the solar because it does need a bit of electricity. Here is the gas. So basically the law is that gas has to be, like, it can only be accessible from the outside. So that's why I ended up getting someone to do my gas, because they had to cut like a huge hole in the bus and I just didn't really want to take that risk because there was like cross beams and stuff. Same with over here. Anyway, I think it was just worth it having someone else do it. Here is the inside of the hot water system. All of this means nothing to me, like, I've got no idea, but this will be connected to my like outdoor shower as well and my sink and all of that. So yeah, here is the outside of the gas, which you need a key for, which is really cool. And here is inside. So yeah, you can see like how good it is. I never would have been able to achieve that, and it's all going to be certified. Okay, so after months of saying that we were going to install the MaxxAir fan, we finally did. So first things first, we traced the outline with cardboard and drilled a hole in the center to find the perfect middle. And then I finally got to use the saw, a power tool, and then my dad helped me with the rest because it was really difficult to saw in a straight line, as I found out. Next up, we just filed the inside to get rid of any imperfections, and then it was back with metal galvanizer to make sure we minimize any rust. So in the middle of there being a giant hole in the roof of the bus, I ended up actually having to work. So my dad ended up doing pretty much the entire MaxxAir fan installation himself. And he was such a legend because he decided to film it just for you guys on his own. Like, I didn't even ask him to do this. So here's him building the frame. It's pretty self-explanatory, so just, I guess, if you have any questions, comment them below and he can answer them for you. So the boys ended up gluing the frame into the roof of the bus. In small vans with the MaxxAir fan installation, it's not really necessary to build a frame like this, but the coaster roof is super flimsy, and even though the beams we did take out aren't structural beams, we just wanted to do this just to make it a little bit more secure. This frame also, I guess, acts as another vantage point for us to eventually screw in the plywood ceiling. Once the frame was in, it was time to install the actual frame for the MaxxAir fan. This was pretty simple. It was just a really messy job, so we used an outdoor weatherproof type of Sikaflex, put the frame on and then screwed it in, and it comes with all the screws. But just a note, we did pre-drill all of these holes. Make sure you use heaps of Sikaflex because that's, at the end of the day, what's going to make it all nice and waterproof. Here is what it looks like at the end, and in the future we will install this cover, but we will do that once the actual ceiling is in. So finally it was time for the installation. This is my brother and I picking it up from Bunnings. Now, there is so much debate on the internet of what type of insulation to use in your van or bus. but I'm just going to spare you the debate and just tell you what I did. You don't have to do it exactly like this because there's heaps of options, but I went with foilboard. I used the 20mm thickness one because you are supposed to leave an air gap with insulation, and this kind of provided that perfect air gap for, I guess, the thickness of my walls. And because it's obviously a board, you don't need to like prop it up to create that air gap. It just sits quite nicely and you tape it in. I will say it is a massive mess when you cut it because I think it's like polystyrofoam. Anyway, it just crumbles everywhere, but I think that's fine. It just is like basically playing a giant game of puzzle and having to cut it all to shape. So in total, I think because I was working heaps, it took me like a month to insulate the entire bus, but I guess I wasn't in the bus every single day. I'm sure you could do it much quicker. The foil board is quite sturdy, but it's also a bit soft. So like in the ceiling, if you cut it like the perfect size to these little slots, it actually like stays in there perfectly while still creating the air gap. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what is this glue for? Essentially with the walls in the ceiling, I ran into a problem, and that's basically that these walls are curved. And so I taped them in. I then drove the bus, and the whole foil board in the ceiling, like the curved walls, was rattling and kind of moved place. So for the curved parts, I did use this glue, which stuck so well. Here's the finished product. So yeah, the straight parts I used the tape, and then the curved parts, except for the back, I used this glue, and that worked for me. Time for the bed build. So what I'm holding here are the brackets for the Ikea Skorva Galvanised Midbeams. So these midbeams are essentially galvanized beams that are adjustable, that allow you to create a floating bed. They were designed by Ikea for additional support in their beds, but they are perfect for coasters. So basically we literally just drilled in these brackets, which you get for free if you buy the midbeams, which I think are only $30 each, so in total $90. And then all you need to do is hook in the beams, and then as you can see I'm doing here, you pull them and they are like adjustable. Honestly, it was probably one of the easiest jobs we've done so far in the coaster. And now it means that the bed is floating, and so there's heaps of room for storage underneath, and also it means we can take them out to continue working on the bed and like building under the bed storage. My brother and I did this by ourselves. We got it perfect. All you really need is to know how to drill and how to measure so that they're level. I also ended up going with Ikea bed slats. These both together were $90, so the whole thing cost $180, which probably would have been the same in plywood, except that this wasn't a pain to install, and look how much storage we have. And look how good it looks. I'm just stoked with it and would definitely recommend this to anyone. Thanks for watching, make sure you subscribe, and the next episode will be up super soon. Just gonna go in.
I'm filming now.
It just won't work.
Yeah!
Restart. It's just isn't gonna work. It doesn't fit.
You're gonna have to cut this.
It does fit. It does fit. It does fit. Lush, baby.
Thumbs up.
Denk maar.
Adorable.